Flahertys on films. Now, for our regular listeners, they might be confused at the name change, but the audience feedback has not been positive on sibling screenings. They did not care for it. So we're going with a little bit of a harder alliteration. So Flahertys on films. Not to be confused with the famous documentarian Robert Flaherty. And we are not going to be in the films, so just hope that alleviates all confusion. This is the new title.
So if anyone gave us an iTunes rating, like, maybe go back and edit it.
Right,
now that we have a better name.
If you could. Thank you. So anyway, this week we are continuing our countdown of the AFI Top 100 Films with Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing from 1989. This is the IMDb synopsis. On the hottest day of the year on a street in Bedford, Stuyvesant? I don't know how to say that second word.
Stuyvesant. We got it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. Wow, nailed it. In that section of Brooklyn, everyone's hate and bigotry smolders and builds until it explodes into violence.
Yes.
All right. So, have you seen this film before, Michael?
I've not seen it. I've never even heard of it before we decided to do this.
Wow. Oh, by the way, so rude. I'd like to introduce a special guest we have in the studio with us today.
Who?
It's our sister-in-law, Michelle. For the famed Bro Call segments, this is our brother John's wife. Michelle, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
Yes, she actually flew in special from Washington, D.C. just for this.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So, Michelle, have you seen this film?
I had not seen this film, but I always get caught up in discussions about it, and I feel very bad about myself and my inherent white privilege whenever the discussion turns to Do the Right Thing.
Fair enough. So I think I'm the only one who had seen this film. So what did you guys know anything about it going in? You did not. You had not heard
zero.
of it. But Michelle?
I knew that it was one of the classic like films on race. I know that comes up in a lot of college courses on films, especially contemporary film.
Sure.
Yep.
So, and just a disclaimer, as we're talking about the simmering racial tensions of 1980s Brooklyn, Michael and I grew up in a town in Wisconsin that, I looked this up, the demographics are now 95% white. So, just a little FYI that we may not be the most literate on racial tensions.
Usually we are the expert voices, but
right.
we're going to have to tone that down a little bit for this film.
For this film, maybe we're not the experts.
No.
So why don't we get into some Amazon reviews?
Sure.
All right. Watch this film for class. Theme as too much anger/tension for my likes.
Yeah, I don't like that much conflict in my movies. I like when everyone's nice.
Very bad language. Not much story. Waste of time.
I agree with the first 2 points. I mean, it's kind of meandering about.
Right.
There's some language.
There's a little slice of life. Bought the HD version, but a lot of parts weren't HD.
Valid complaint.
Scathing.
Wait, but how would that work? Did they see the date it was made? How does that work?
Yeah,
What were they expecting? Magic?
Yeah, I mean, even HD film, if it was shot on film, it wasn't shot digitally, so you can
HD it up?
Yeah.
I don't know the technology.
Yeah, it sounds like magic, which makes me skeptical.
We'll get research on that.
I would just say I feel for this guy. If parts were not HD, I would feel ripped.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Great film, but the DVD menu is poorly designed. It makes annoying beeping sounds when you shuffle from film to scenes to extras. Also, the menu is aesthetically unpleasing. 1 star.
Legit complaint. These are good complaints.
Yeah, this is like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then before we get into the greater film discussion, I think, Mikey, what time is it?
I think it's BAM!
Time for Sam.
Okay, so some fun facts about this film. Robert De Niro was originally picked to be Sal.
Played by Danny Aiello for our
He did a great job.
It was so good.
Yeah,
The reason he did not take the role is because he had done too many similar roles.
That did not stop him later in his career. I just want to point that out for Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Spike Lee wrote this entire screenplay in just 2 weeks, and it's actually inspired by real-life events.
I believe that.
Sure.
Okay.
It's the feature film debut of Martin Lawrence.
Okay.
Okay.
Of Bad Boys fame.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The word
Woosah.
the word fuck is said 240 times in this film at a rate of 2 per minute.
Whoa.
Wow. Is Bad Boys 1 or 2 on the AFI Top 100? Can we get research on that?
We're going to have to come back.
Yeah, we're going to have to come back. I mean, I assume
can tell you they're not.
I would assume Michael Bay's fairly well represented on the AFI.
Yeah, he's not.
Well, all right then.
This film was selected in 1999 for the National Film Registry, and it is one of only 6 films to have this honor in their first year of eligibility.
Okay.
It has been selected because of cultural, historical, and aesthetically significance.
Bad Boys is probably significant too, but please go on.
And the last one, this was the film that the Obamas watched on their first date in 1989.
Whoa, shit just got real. That's from Bad
That
Boys.
is heavy for a first date. That is
we're
so
going
heavy.
to see Driving Miss Daisy, but
So they're just really into racial.
But they're serious people.
They're serious people. They're
Yeah.
they're Ivy League educated lawyers. Like they're not gonna spend their time watching Bad Boys.
No. But he would have been a cooler president, maybe.
Maybe.
Their loss.
Yeah.
Clearly, their loss.
All right. So let's get into it. So the plot. Did you follow the plot? I mean, not much there plot wise.
Can I just say whether I think it was good or not?
You mean?
I think it was good. I feel like I don't normally like these kind of films where it's just like meandering and it doesn't have too much of a plot. There's just a lot of characters and you get introduced to the scene and this town, and at the end there is a sort of climax and it feels like everything did actually build up to that final few moments of the film.
Yes.
But overall there wasn't too much of a plot, and it was alright because I did like the characters.
Yeah.
And I was really into it.
I really like this film. I think it was paced really well, which I can't say for a lot of the films we've watched recently.
No.
I thought the colors, like, so I wish I had a better vocabulary to talk about this, but I think Spike Lee's film, like, his filming techniques are great.
Yeah.
The pacing, the colors, the follow through with the camera, I just
Yeah,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it visually. Although I have to say, and this is, I mentioned this, I had this problem with like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is like the badass cool black culture of the late 80s, early 90s has so much neon in it, it's hard to like not think it looks a little silly. Like the beginning number where Rosie Perez is like dancing to like cool music and the
awesome.
sax.
For a full, like, 6 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, that
it
was-
is a very long time.
That was a long
Well,
intro.
it's the opening credits.
And then while the lyrics in the song were talking about boxing, she had on boxing gloves.
I don't get what the problem is.
Yeah, so we can put a couple minutes to this. I thought the racial tension stuff was really well done in like nobody was the hero. Racism is very complicated, but it's still like, I thought one of the most powerful scenes was at the end and Radio Raheem had died and like, and first of all, Danny Aiello gives this really powerful performance at the end. Like, wow.
You're talking about the last scene where he's talking to Spike Lee?
Yeah.
Mookie.
Mookie, right.
Mookie.
And, you know, and he's just talking about, this is my business. Every fixture in this was my lifeblood. And it was just really good scene. And then they pan out and it's on the radio and they're like, oh, and the mayor's coming to this neighborhood because no business should ever be destroyed. And it's like, but also...
Someone died.
Right.
Like, a kid died.
Yeah.
Right. And I just was like, wow. Because it was so subtle and it was so powerful and... Yeah.
I think there was also it felt a little bit like it was a statement about the resilience of that community because it was the next morning, something very dramatic happened the night before, and it looks like life just goes on, like people adapt and move on. And Mookie was talking about, well, now I've got to go make that money to take care of my child, and it's so, I think it was a statement about how resilient people are when they have to be.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
God, I just thought... I thought everybody was a great actor in it. Like
I didn't think Spike Lee was that good of an actor.
But,
I mean, you got to give him so much credit because it's a really good film. He directed it, he wrote it, but...
yeah,
his brainchild.
okay, that's
Yeah.
actually fair. That's fair. I thought everyone else was really good, though.
Everybody else, absolutely.
God, and there was that one scene where where there's that drunk who I thought had a great voice.
Yeah.
Like, he was so good.
The mayor.
The mayor.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
It's the mayor.
And he does this, and the teenagers are harassing him, and he's just like, you don't know what I've seen. You don't know what it's like to stand in the doorway, and you can't feed your children. And then the teenagers come back with well, fuck your soliloquy. If your children are starving, go get a job. I would never be you. You've made your choices. And it was like such a crazy good dialogue.
I remember that scene. I had to look up soliloquy.
And
it means monologue.
but it's a pretty word.
Isn't it fun to say? It feels good.
Yeah, it feels nice.
Soliloquy.
It is weird because I did like the characters. Like, I was rooting for most of them, even when they weren't very good people.
Yeah, even Spike Lee was not that great of a character. It seemed, everyone gave him shit for not working too hard, and it seems like he didn't.
Right.
The film made a point of he really does go on these long lunches.
Yeah. And he's not a very attentive father, and he's like...
No, and I don't even know how I feel about the end where he picks up the trash can, he throws it through the window, and that kind of incites them burning down Sal's joints.
Right. I don't think that was great.
Yeah.
He did not do the right thing in that moment.
He did not do the right thing.
Which I think was the name of the point.
Okay, fine.
But that just... But when violence and anger get into something, even if it's justified, it's not always directed appropriately.
Correct.
Yeah. Or even, was it appropriate? I don't know. I just thought, really good. And also, this is a weird thing to say after what we just said, but I thought it was funny. I was laughing a few times. Yeah?
Yeah, I don't remember any jokes. I don't remember laughing.
Well, it wasn't like a comedy.
No.
It's not like a bit. It was like a...
No.
Not...
There was a lot of realistic banter.
Yeah,
yes.
like a fun banter. Yeah.
Like, between the mayor and
mother
sister,
yeah.
or sister mother. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny.
like
And realistic. Like, we hear that all the time.
Whoa, so can I say, a lot of the films on this AFI that drag forever, Ben-Hur's a good example, and it's just, there's just no reprieve at all. There's no fun, and there's no, something to take you out of the serious and the slog of life. And...
It's cherry races and Jesus.
Oh, right, I forgot, because, there's nothing funnier than Jesus Christ.
He's a magic man. I don't know.
Is that a funny bit to you?
I like it.
All right, let's see. What's fake about this? Huh? Not much. I mean, I thought... I don't really know what it was like in Brooklyn in the 1980s, but a lot of the themes that they picked up on, I mean, not to brag, but I did live in New York City.
Oh.
Don't brag alert.
Did you? Really?
I did.
You're a big city gal.
Big Apple. And a lot of there was some little scenes that I was like, wow, this is probably still going on in Bed-Stuy right now. Like that real small scene with the white guy who lived at the apartment, and they're like, fuck gentrification.
Oh, like the jogger, yeah.
Yeah. I bet those sort of things still happen now.
Yeah.
So I thought pretty good. Yeah. And do you guys think it aged well? Because I think it did, and I'm like, whoa.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
I think it did. I think it's still very poignant now, and that is depressing.
Right, 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Wow.
The themes, but also just the filmmaking, and it's
Nah.
just a very watchable film.
I mean,
it's really well done.
Some of the aesthetic choices are very, very of the time, but still
What do you
age
mean?
well.
Yes.
Like the neon and the African
The
necklaces.
leggings under the dress and the bucket hats.
Okay, the leggings on the dress, I totally want, like the neon pattern leggings, I want them right now.
Right, because it's 30 years later. Some of that is really hot right now. Like you remember the love-hate rings?
Oh yeah!
Those are super hot right now.
Really?
Yeah. So there's actually, you can see some modern day trends. Yeah.
I loved the three older guys who were bantering against that red
Yes.
brick wall.
Yeah.
Such a well-framed shot.
So I feel like they were the Greek chorus of this movie.
Ooh, that's
When I was watching it, I don't know that much about classic movie or storytelling setup, but it felt like they were the Greek chorus.
that's a good observation.
Thank you.
That was very smart.
Wise.
Yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts. I think just good movie.
Yeah, it's too bad. So for our podcast, I thought would maybe have a comedic tone, but it's hard to be funny.
Yeah,
on
this is
movie.
not a...
It's just really nice. It's really well done.
Really? Oh, I thought, so I think this is one of Samuel L. Jackson's first movies.
Really?
Accurate.
I think it might... Research?
On it.
We'll get research on that. But I thought was so good. But I also thought, again, back to kind of some of it's a little cheesy. Some of his, slang, wiggity whack and stuff.
Great, I love that.
That's the truth, Ruth.
So I felt the same way watching this as I did Casablanca. I didn't realize some of the... You know, when you watch Casablanca and there's a lot of cliches in it, well, those cliches actually started in Casablanca.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have heard people say, especially of my parents' age, say, that's the truth, Ruth.
Oh.
Like, this is a thing that I've heard and I didn't realize it was from Do the Right Thing.
What about the flippity flop? Because he says that too.
That just might be 80s hip-hop.
Right.
It's his 7th film. However, his first film was another Stan Lee film.
You mean Spike Lee?
Oh, never mind. First one was a Stan Lee.
But he's also in Stan Lee films as he is one of
Yes,
the Avengers.
you're right. Yes, it's his 7th.
All right, Brokaw.
Brokaw.
Time to see what John's up to. Let's do it. Oh, we're just gonna do it.
Call John.
Which John?
My brother.
God, why would you call any other John? I forgot to do the noise.
What's the... Hello?
Hello.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going all right. What's up?
We were talking about the movie Do the Right Thing. How do you feel about that movie?
What is Do the Right Thing? I've never heard of it.
All right, good contribution. And that was Brokaw.
And that was Brokaw. We'll talk to you later, John.
Bye.
Oh, all right. Bye-bye.
Good Brokaw.
Good Brokaw.
I miss him.
All right.
That disappoints me. As his wife, I'm a little disappointed.
All right, so let's do some ratings. Would this go on your personal top AFI? Now, so if you would consider the cultural significance and all that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. It is still very poignant right now. It's very relevant.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that this is our 5th AFI film, and of the first 4 films we watched, 2 of them had blackface. So it is nice to have a prominent black director film.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice change of pace.
I don't know if I'd watch this movie again soon. Just because there's so much, like... It's not padding, but it's just, like, it's not a plot. It's not moving forward.
Right.
It's just kind of, like, observing this town. And it's really nice, but I don't know.
I would recommend it to people.
Yeah.
I do like it. And I do think it goes in the AFI because it so perfectly captures a time. Barack Obama likes it. So, you know, it would go on my personal AFI, I think. It would definitely be the running.
It feels like it should be mandatory watching for certain sections of the population.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a grade.
I'm
I'm going to give it a B+.
That's mine too, I think. B+ as well.
I think an A minus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it was really well done. There are a couple things that I would change, but A minus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That was Flahertys on film. Thank you for joining us.